Hello YouTube, I'm gonna do a comparison video between DSI Tempest and Elektron analog rhythm. The first thing I do to understand a new synth and try to learn it is to try to build a beat that I already know. So I've done this when I bought the Tempest, and in 3 days I've created this beat. I've done the same with the analog rhythm, and in 3 days that's what I managed to create. So let's hear it. So first of all, let's start with the Tempest. This is the So these are 3 patterns for the song. Let's hear them on the analog rhythm. I just rebuilt from scratch also on the analog rhythm using only analog voices aside from 3 samples. So it's quite different, I know, and I wanted to get most close result possible on the analog rhythm to what I got in the Tempest, but it was really hard. First of all, the engines are really different, okay? And the architecture doesn't really allow you to go on the same way and the same programmability you got in the Tempest. You have to understand the new machine, obviously. That's what I'm trying to do. So I first of all want to hear again everything without the bass drum, because the bass synth, because the bass synth is really giving a lot on this beat. Let's just hear the pure drum sounds. Let's hear it back. Tempest, pattern 1, Elektron. Pattern 2, Elektron. Pattern 3. So I have to say that on the Tempest, I could basically create multiple versions of noises and hi-hats that I've mapped to different pads as I wanted. On the analog rhythm, I was constrained by the pad architecture. You can only choose the so-called machines that grant you to create dedicated drum sounds. You cannot put the hi-hat, for instance, the hi-hat that it should be here, you cannot put it here. Or better, you can try to achieve a sound that is similar to a hi-hat, but based on the machine that creates snare drums or rim shots or claps or bass drum, not the machine that creates hi-hat, because that one is only selectable here. So only these are the machines that create hi-hats. This one is the machine that creates the bass drum. Then I took off clips and sweeps in order just to have a pure analog bass synth sound. But actually, this one is a sample, and you cannot really, create whatever you want in all the pads. You have to know and understand the analog rhythm quite deeply on this side, because it's not flexible as the Tempest. I'm just comparing again only the pure analog sound, okay? I'm not really talking about samples, because I could also sample the whole Tempest beat here and put it here on the analog Rytm and start to assign different pieces of this pattern to every single pad. And in that case, I've got maximum flexibility, obviously, and I can still use all the effects and filters and so on. So I'm not saying that is not possible. It's just that you have to find workaround. On a pure analog synth, you've got restrictions, and they're quite huge if you already know the Tempest. But it's obviously, you can find workaround. You can find scene, for instance, or performance modes that allow you to change and shape different sounds based on each single step of the sequencer in order to get variation of the same pads. But it's not really the same. It's not like having this one, this one, this one, this one. I mean, this is quite easy to get around, and once I created all my pads, I can start to play the pads. Here I've got only 2 pads and I have to program in order to get variation. So it's more sequencer oriented, and in fact the sequencer is amazing here. You can really do whatever you want on each single step for the patterns. You've got a limitation of number, I think is 48, I don't remember, but you've got a limitation on the number of parameters that you can change on each single step. But I was really blown away by the sequencer of Elektron. It's really powerful, deep, flexible, quick, intuitive, fantastic. Yeah, I really cannot complain about that. The Tempest is good as well, but perhaps a little bit more not so flexible, let's say. But anyway, there is no better machine here. I hope you understand that. Every single machine has its own strength point and weak points, and you would just have to discover them, find workarounds, and you will be happy anyway. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.